Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of both WWE Wrestlepalooza and AEW All Out 2025. It has been a long day, such a long day that I put up the wrong background. But here we are, we're live, we got it right now. This is the recap of both Wrestlepalooza and AEW All Out. I will be giving my thoughts on almost 20 matches between the two shows. A lot to discuss. If you're watching live, please do me a favor and share this video on social media. Tell a friend. Leave your thoughts on the matches. I see a lot of different opinions on All Out and Wrestlepalooza. I will tell you which show I thought was better. I will explain myself. Let's get to it. We are going to start with Wrestlepalooza since it just ended and it's fresh off of people's memories. Let's go ahead and talk about Wrestlepalooza, and then I will get to AEW All Out. Dave sent in a $10 super chat. Dave, I will get to your super chat in just a few minutes. I might upset a lot of people tonight with this stream, and you'll know why in just a few moments. Some of you might already know if you saw my post on Facebook and X, but let's get to it. They opened up with a brand new intro, which is cool. It's the debut on ESPN. Triple H came out there to do the big introduction. That's cool. I was fine with that. Pat McAfee was back, but what was weird was that the announcers acted like it was a surprise, even though it was announced like a month ago that Pat McAfee was going to be on the show. I was just rolling my eyes at that point. Was that one of Triple H's big surprises, that Pat McAfee was going to be on commentary? I was happy to see Pat back, although he wasn't on the whole show. He only did commentary for, I think, 2 matches, maybe 3, but I'm forgetting already. It definitely wasn't the whole show. We opened up with John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. John Cena came out with a whole group of kids dressed up just like him. Classic John Cena entrance. We had Paul Heyman interrupting Cena's entrance, and Paul Heyman did the introduction for Brock Lesnar, just like old times. It was teased on SmackDown, and we got it on this show. I don't know if Heyman and Lesnar are going to continue to be a thing and if they're fully back together or if this was just a one-off, but it was a fun little moment. And then we had the match, which was basically the 2014 SummerSlam match all over again. Like it was a rerun. They didn't really do anything different from the 2014 match. I figured it would be a completely different match, but no, it was essentially a finisher spam, just like almost every Brock Lesnar match that we see. Cena got in some offense. Then Lesnar took control, suplexed Cena a little bit. Then Cena did the shoulder blocks. He struggled to get Lesnar down. Then he did the attitude adjustment. He did a second one. He did a third one. Lesnar kicked out. Then Cena went for the 5-knuckle shuffle. Lesnar countered that with an F5. Then Lesnar did a second one, a third one, a fourth one, a fifth one, and I think a sixth one. And then he just pinned John Cena. I am going to say it. I think this match sucked because it had nothing unique about it. I don't really know why they can't just have a different type of match. Why did it have to be a quick spam finishing match? It was pointless. The streak of great John Cena matches ended at 2. Waste of time. I get it. They're pushing Brock Lesnar, but I don't know. I think Cena should have won this one. Give him a win or two before he retires. He shouldn't really be losing till the last match anyways. I wasn't a fan. I think this fell flat. And this was the first match on Disney. The only entertaining thing really was the fact that the kids in the crowd were basically crying. You had little kids crying. You even had that basketball player upset. Like, I got a kick out of that, but the match itself, meh, not too good. And I'm glad it wasn't the main event, because if it was the main event, it would have been a really flat main event. But yeah, they're trying to elevate Lesnar, and Cena's on his way out, but really they should have done this at the end. Like, do this as the final match, not do it here, and then Cena still has like 3 or 4 matches left. It just didn't hit for me. I wasn't digging this match too much. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, what if John Cena pins Brock Lesnar in War Games? I don't even know if Brock Lesnar is going to be in War Games at this point. And to be honest, I don't really have any desire to see John Cena and Brock Lesnar in the ring again. This could be leading to a rematch, but I don't want to see it. I'd like to see John Cena versus AJ Styles, or John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio, something like that. Just change it up, or even John Cena versus Drew McIntyre. I don't need to see John Cena versus Brock Lesnar again. I really didn't need to see it here. I think the only reason they did it was because it was Wrestlepalooza, and they wanted the buzz for it. But for me, it fell flat. Next up, we had the Usos versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The Usos came out there with the classic music, but then they changed it up to Jay's music, because Jay's, you can do the eating and everything. LA Knight was the special guest referee, which was literally a last-minute addition. Now, when we did our predictions, I figured, okay, LA Knight's probably going to get involved. They should have just announced this on TV. I don't know why they waited to announce this until the last minute. I don't know. But the match was pretty good. LA Knight was basically letting them get away with anything. You had a steel chair being used, and LA Knight pretended to turn his back. He was letting them do whatever the hell they wanted. And it was good. The Usos were on fire during the match. They did their super kicks. They did the 1D to Braun Breaker, but Bronson Reed broke it up. And then we started having the shenanigans with LA Knight. Jay did deliver a spear and then came off the top with the Uso splash to Braun Breaker. Braun kicked out, and then there was a question if the count was fast, but I don't think it was fast. Of course, they were questioning it. Then Bronson Reed was having words with LA Knight, and then Jay went for a dive onto Reed, but then there was the question, was he actually going for LA Knight? Then Braun Breaker took control here, and then we had more shenanigans where there was a steel chair involved again, and Jay was trying to hit Braun Breaker with the chair, and he almost hit LA Knight. He did hit Braun Breaker, and apparently Jay busted himself open with the chair somehow. Like he hit Braun with the chair, and then he was bleeding, and somebody mentioned that maybe a piece of the chair flung in his face or something. But yeah, Jay was bleeding out of nowhere, and then Braun Breaker recovered. He speared Jay, and then he speared both Usos through the table that was set up in the corner. Then Jay was hit with the tsunami, and that was it. The Bronze picked up the victory, It was good. It was a good tag team match. They didn't pull the trigger on any kind of a turn, but I think we all expected LA Knight to interfere anyways, so why not make him the referee? I just think they should have announced it on TV and not waited to the last minute. But yeah, it went about as I expected, minus LA Knight being the referee. Somebody in the chat asked, where do you get this shirt? You have to go to the Blairstown Diner, which is in New Jersey, to get the shirt. All right, next up we had Stephanie Vaquer versus Io Sky for the vacant women's championship. This match was excellent. To me, this was the best match of the pay-per-view and perhaps match of the entire day. I mean, it was right up there with the best matches from All Out. Excellent back and forth battle between these two. They had the feeling out process, the sportswomanship between them. And it was very competitive back and forth with these two. Counter after counter. And everything looked really good in this match. Stephanie was targeting Io's leg with the dragon screw. And Io went for the moonsault more than once. On one occasion, Stephanie got her feet up. And then another time, Stephanie was able to move out of the way. They did a tease for it. And eventually, Stephanie got the devil's kiss onto Io, which the crowd, of course, loved. Stephanie hit the SVB, but Io kicked out of it. And then both of them ended up on the top. Io did an avalanche Spanish fly to Stephanie. And then she exposed her knees and did the bullet train, the knee strike in the corner. Then she went for the moonsault, but Stephanie moved, like I mentioned. And then Stephanie came off the top with the spiral tap, which looked great. She executed it perfectly. And she got the 1-2-3 victory to become the new women's champion. I definitely recommend this one, and they showed some respect afterwards. Pyro went off. Stephanie celebrated her victory with her father at ringside. Great moment there. We have a couple of super chats, which I'll get to. First of all, Dave Scheffler sent in $10. Thank you, Dave. When they had the Crown Jewel Championship announcement during the women's entrance, I knew Stephanie was winning. Hopefully I do better the next time I get a chance to join the No DQ predictions panel. I figured Stephanie was the favorite going in just because Io has been champion. But what really sealed it for me was not necessarily the entrance, but and the Crown Jewel title, but the fact that her father was there. Like, I didn't really think that Stephanie was going to lose with her father there in attendance. And they announced that several days ago. So when that happened, I'm figuring, okay, yeah, Stephanie's winning the title. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a $2 super chat, says, do you think this is the best rookie year since Brock Lesnar? It's definitely up there. I mean, as far as women's wrestlers go in WWE, she might have the best rookie year. It's hard to find somebody else that had a better first year. She held the NXT title and the North American title at the same time, and then wins this title all within a year of joining WWE. I mean, yeah, she's doing great. And she is next level. Got to give her credit where credit is due. Her and Io, definitely two of the best wrestlers in the business right now. And no interference from Asuka, which I think is for the best. You know, you're crowning a new champion. I like the fact that they just had a straightforward match, no shenanigans or anything. I think it was almost a perfect match. Really well done. We had the mixed tag team match. CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I have mixed feelings about this one. I might get some heat for this, but I didn't love it. I thought it was entertaining, but, and this is a big but, I think it was very over choreographed to the point where it took me out of the match. It started off, they built it up, and I thought they did a good job with that, where AJ Lee was on the apron and people wanted to see her get in the mix, and it kept being delayed. First, Becky refused to get in the ring, and then anytime Punk would be close to making the tag, something would happen. And then eventually AJ got in there and she looked good. I think that she might struggle to be at the standard of what we have now. You know, she came from the Divas era where she stood out, but now you got so many great women's wrestlers like Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky. But her personality is what really shines. She came in there and the crowd was eating her up. You know, she can just do her thing, you know. And she did look good. There were a few little sloppy moments in it, but all in all, I think she did well. My biggest problem with the match was all the dueling moves that they were doing. Like if it happened once in the match, okay, that's fine. But then they're doing all these dueling moves, like waiting for the other one to get in position to do the move. And I don't know. I just think they went overboard with it in this match. And the crowd did chant, "You still got it," for AJ. But, you know, they're doing the dueling bulldogs, the dueling shining wizards, the dueling submissions. Then Rollins and Becky are doing the dueling moves. Doing the pedigrees. Like, come on. It just got a bit much after a while. So I kind of started to just roll my eyes as this match went on. And then they were all on the outside of the ring. And then here's the other thing too. So the referee, I mean, this happens in WWE and AEW, but the referee just gives up with tags. Like, it just became a tornado tag team match. And then you got Becky and Punk doing moves. Punk said he wasn't going to hurt a woman, but then he ends up putting her in the sharpshooter. Then we have, they're doing each other's moves too. So you got AJ stomping Rollins, and Rollins is skipping around like AJ. It was too much. They overdid it. Just my opinion. I still enjoyed the match, but I think it was overkill. Then they're on the outside, and then they're trying to do dueling moves on the table, and Becky knocks AJ off one table. AJ crashes into Punk and Rollins. They break the table in an awkward manner, and then AJ's back in the ring with Becky. Becky goes for the manhandle slam, but AJ counters it and gets the submission win, which is the right finish. But yeah, besides my issues with it, I did think it was pretty entertaining. But I would have done things a little bit different if it was me. It did go on for a very long time too, which, you know, it was AJ's first match back, but I think it could have been a little bit shorter. Maybe they could have done just a little bit less, and I think it would have accomplished the same thing. Now, we got a couple of super chats here, so let me get to those. Mr. Penguin sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mr. Penguin. Says, Triple H should really stop saying that there are surprises every PLE. Well, that's what promoters do. They like to hype the show up and tease that there are surprises. That's what they do. And we got to talk about what was actually maybe the one surprise on this show, and which we'll get to here shortly. So thank you for that, Mr. Penguin. And I tend to agree with you, but that's what they do. And then Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, conspiracy theory. John Cena loses Boston for his last match. Then he gets destroyed in 8 minutes by Lesnar. TKO is mad at him for attending Vince McMahon's birthday. That is certainly a conspiracy theory, and I don't really think it makes sense, because I think, if anything, a lot of people in TKO like Vince McMahon, and if they weren't at Vince's birthday party, they probably would have liked to have been at his birthday party. You know, they cut ties with him because, well, from a business standpoint, that's what they have to do right now. But if this lawsuit gets dropped and Vince is clear, you're probably going to see him on TV again. Just saying. I don't think TKO is really mad about John Cena being there. I mean, you could say it's bad press for WWE, but I mean, most people have already forgotten that Cena was there, and people make a big deal out of it and then they forget about it. All right, let's talk about the surprise. So here I am. I'm watching 7, 8, 9 hours of wrestling, however long it was. And The Undertaker comes out. I'm thinking, I got one more match. I'm so close to being done. And then Undertaker comes out, and I'm like, okay, so now we got some filler. He's sitting there chatting with Stephanie, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the point of this? Where's this going? And as it turns out, Undertaker revealed that Stephanie McMahon is going into the WWE Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2026. I do believe this is the farthest out in advance they've ever announced somebody for the Hall of Fame. Does Stephanie deserve it? Absolutely. I mean, she's a McMahon and she's been a big part of the company for many years. Of course, there will be the people that say, oh, Triple H is just putting in his wife, blah, blah, blah. But I think she deserves it. I'm fine with it. I have no problem with it. I'm happy for her. It is early, but hey, start making plans now. And while you're at it, how about moving the Hall of Fame to its own night so we can actually enjoy it and not throw it in, bunched in with SmackDown and NXT and all that stuff. Like, give it its own night and actually let people enjoy the ceremony for what it is. It was a nice surprise. I'm glad they did it, and it was fitting. They might have done it because it's the ESPN debut and they wanted a big moment for that. It's fine. I liked it. All right, let's talk about the main event, and then we will get to AEW, and we'll see how many people stick around for the rest of the stream. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE title. They traded shots in the opening moments. Now, Cody was acting a little odd, and I thought maybe he was hurt at first because he tripped while going for the Cody cutter, and he seemed like he was upset, but he got it together, and I think this was just part of the match because Wade Barrett kept making a big deal out of it, saying that Cody really wasn't at 100%. And McIntyre delivered a lot of offense to Cody. He launched him over the announce desk. He did the inverted Alabama slam onto the steel steps. And it went back and forth a little bit. We got McIntyre avoiding the crossroads, and then he did the avalanche white noise. Cody kicked out of that. And then Cody put on a figure 4 leg lock. McIntyre got out of that. And then he exposed the top turnbuckle pad. And the referee got caught up in the mix here with these guys, and he had to go out of the ring. McIntyre rolled up Cody and had what they call the phantom pin, where he's pinning Cody. He has the match won, but the referee is out of position, and Cody ultimately kicks out when the referee gets in. At this point, I figured Cody's retaining because McIntyre had the match won, and that's his excuse for the future when he wants a rematch. The match continued, and then McIntyre did hit the Claymore. Cody kicked out. Cody hit the crossroads. McIntyre kicked out of that. And they were on the outside of the ring, and McIntyre went for the Claymore to send Cody into the announce desk, which is what he did several weeks ago that put him on the shelf. However, the referee had a problem with this and was trying to talk Drew out of it. Drew pushed the referee away, went for the move. However, that time with the referee allowed Cody to recover, and Cody moved. He got Drew back in the ring, hit another Cody cutter, the super Cody cutter, then the crossroads again, and got the 1-2-3 victory. Cody celebrated, and that was the end of the show. I don't know why they put this on last. I know it's the WWE title match, but Really, it should have been the CM Punk and AJ Lee match because of the hype for that one. To me, this was exactly what I was expecting going in, like a filler match for Cody, which sucks because Drew should be in a better position than just a filler opponent for Cody Rhodes. So the main event was a little disappointing. Like I really wasn't expecting Drew to win, but I figured they would have a little bit more of an impactful main event. Like it was good, but I really wouldn't call it a great match or anything. It was good, maybe a glorified SmackDown WWE title match. Didn't really feel like a match of the year contender for your first show on ESPN, which I figured it's the main event of your ESPN debut and it should be an all-time classic. And I definitely felt I felt like it came up a bit short. So all in all, I think Wrestlepalooza was a good show, but not great. I do not think they knocked it out of the park. It did feel like a B show that they were overhyping as, something that could be on the level of SummerSlam or the Rumble or WrestleMania. It wasn't. It was a B pay-per-view painted up and decorated to look like something bigger than it was. And that's how I feel about it. It was good, but not a show that I felt lived up to the hype. 6 out of 10. Good, but not great. And that was Wrestlepalooza. Now, let's jump back. We got a lot to talk about. Hopefully you guys will stick around for me with this. AEW All Out. Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Real quickly, I'll just recap what they were calling the tailgate matches, the tailgate brawl. We had the Ops beating the Workhorsemen, just a dark match shown on TV, little kickoff match. Daniel Garcia versus Shibata. Daniel Garcia is a heel now. Garcia picked up the win, no surprise there. Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong against the Frat House. Good guys won, no surprise there. Then we had the 8-woman tailgate tornado brawl, which was all right. Again, kickoff match. They did a few things resembling a hardcore match, but not too much. They were saving the good stuff for the pay-per-view. Willow got the win for her team. It was a fine kickoff match. Totally skippable, though. Like, you could have missed this whole show. Nothing special on it. All right. Main card. Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus FTR. Really fun match. Great way to kick off the show. I really do think they could have opened or closed the pay-per-view with this. Like this was really fun. The crowd absolutely loved Cope, as you would expect, singing the song. They were chanting "He's our asshole" at Christian. And then F the Revival, singing that song at FTR. Dax had his nose bandaged up, but he did the match anyways. And one really cool thing we got in this match, and this is a first, I think. So Adam Copeland came in, got the hot tag after Christian was beat down, and he busted out. This was returning the favor because a few weeks ago, John Cena did Edge's spear as tribute to Edge. So now Copeland in this match did You Can't See Me. He did the 5-knuckle shuffle. He did the attitude adjustment, which Bryan Danielson on commentary called a Death Valley driver, but that's okay. He did that. They didn't say him by name, but they did say Adam Copeland paying tribute to a guy from his past that he had a rivalry with. And the crowd chanted Cena, which I believe is the first time ever that we got a Cena chant at an AEW show. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember fans ever chanting for Cena at an AEW event. So that was really awesome. That was a nice little moment there for Copeland to return the favor. Then we got the dueling moves again, but at least it was just the one time here. Copeland and Christian doing the double sharpshooters in Canada, which I like. Stokely then interfered, and that's when we got Beth Copeland, Adam Copeland's wife, making a special appearance. We had been talking about, on our predictions video, we brought up the idea of Gangrel evening the odds. I didn't even think of Beth. So that was a nice moment here as well. Beth Phoenix attacking Stokely Hathaway, and then the match continued. FTR almost won. They tried to cheat with the ring bell, but that did not work. They hit the shatter machine to Copeland. He kicked out, and then Christian managed to grab Wheeler's foot. Copeland pinned Dax with the spear. And then Beth came to the ring. They all celebrated, but we were not done because we had a post-match attack. So Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne provided a distraction. FTR attacked Copeland and Christian. Copeland was handcuffed, and then they gave Christian the spiked pile driver. Beth tried to help out. She went after FTR, but they attacked her, and they gave her the spiked pile driver, which got a ton of heat from the fans. I'm kind of sad that they didn't get their happy ending here, but the feud's obviously going to continue. It's not over. And yeah, it was a great angle to get heat for sure, because the crowd was really hating on FTR when this was all said and done. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. They could have closed All Out with this, and I would have been satisfied. Like this was great stuff. Shout out to Hamp Kano, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. How long before WWE signs a deal with Fruit Roll-Up and has at least one roll-up pin every single show called the Fruit Roll-Up of the Night? They might as well at this point. And they should give me royalty money for that, because I've always called it the Fruit Roll-Up. If they ever do that, I'm going to be mad, because I feel like sometimes they do things to intentionally get on my nerves. Just like when they started calling Grayson Waller Big G, or when Zack Ryder won the IC title, causing me to shave my head in a stipulation, and then he loses the title the next night. Very convenient, if I must say so. All right. Second match of the evening, Eddie Kingston versus Big Bill. I'm happy Eddie Kingston's back. Match was not that good, though. Could be ring rust, but it almost feels like Eddie is left behind. You know, you have these new wrestlers that have come in over the past year since he's been gone. I mean, think about it. He got injured early 2024. Since he's been gone, we've had Will Ospreay come in, Okada, Takeshita's been on the rise, Kyle Fletcher, and Eddie just felt out of place here a little bit. I don't know. The match was okay, but they screwed up the finish. So, I mean, it was obvious that Eddie was going to win this one, right? And he went for a back fist. Bill actually kicked out of the first one, and then Eddie did his second one, but the problem is he didn't connect with it, and instead of just going for the move again or trying a different finish, he just went for the cover, and that was it with the missed back fist. So yeah, kind of a letdown of a match. Hopefully it's just ring rust for Eddie. And then afterwards, Brian Keith attacked him. Hook came down with his awful music, and then he made the save, and Eddie and Hook hugged each other, and we had a nice little moment there with the two of them. Next up, we had MJF versus Mark Briscoe in a tables and tacks match, which was basically a match with thumbtacks and tables. I mean, that's what it was. And immediately, Mark Briscoe dumped thumbtacks all over the ring. And of course, they're both wearing white. which, I mean, you know what that means, right? And it's so the blood is easily seen on TV. They kept trying to slam each other on the tacks, and then eventually MJF gouged Briscoe's eyes, slammed him into the tacks, sent him head first into the tacks, put the tacks in Briscoe's mouth and punched him, gave him a couple of back body drops, but then Briscoe made his comeback, and then MJF started taking all the bumps into the tacks, and then Briscoe did the Sabu dive to MJF, putting him through a table. Then he put him through another table, doing the Cactus Jack elbow, which was cool. And then MJF threw tacks in Briscoe's eyes. And then we had a chair with thumbtacks brought into the match. And MJF gave Briscoe a power driver on it, but Briscoe kicked out. Then we had another table brought in, and the table was just covered with thumbtacks. And Briscoe ended up putting MJF through that table with the froggy bow. Then he did the J Driller and got the 1-2-3 victory. I'm a little surprised MJF lost this one. He also lost to Mystico last night and flew from Mexico to Canada for this show. So credit to MJF. I will say that. He's putting people over. He's got that title contract, so he can still cash in at some point. I'm happy for Mark Briscoe because this was probably the biggest win of his career, really. I mean, he beat a former AEW world champion, and he's been known for losing on the big shows, and he finally picked up a major win. Yeah, I'm happy with him. I'm happy with the outcome here, even though MJF really shouldn't be losing if he's going to eventually perhaps become world champion again. But yeah, Mark Briscoe definitely had Mick Foley vibes in this one, and I'm very happy for the guy. And MJF's got other stuff. He's got movies and all that other jazz. I enjoyed the match, and I'm happy that Mark won. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the outcome of this next match. The Hurt Syndicate versus Ricochet and the GOA, Bishop Khan and Toa Leona. I'm still not really sure who's who. I think Khan is the more muscular guy and Toa's the bigger one, but it's still hard for me to tell them apart. MVP being in this match probably should have been the giveaway that Hurt Syndicate was going to lose this one. Ricochet, of course, didn't want to get involved. He let the other two guys do the bulk of the work. And they were more evenly matched. Khan and Benjamin going back and forth, and then Lashley and Toa Leona going back and forth. Then the tides turned when they were on the outside of the ring. Leona hit Lashley with a chair while the referee wasn't looking. And Lashley and Benjamin were sent over the barricade. And that left MVP by himself. And Ricochet was able to pin MVP with the Spirit Gun. I don't know how I feel about the Hurt Syndicate losing here. I mean, they tried to make Hurt Syndicate look as strong as possible in defeat, but they just came off a loss of the tag titles, and then they lose here. I don't know. I mean, Ricochet's character is kind of like a coward, right? And they're trying to build up these other guys as monsters, but so far I'm just not buying them. So kind of mixed feelings on this one. Like, I get that you got to try to push some new people, but I don't know. Lashley should really have at least one good push in the main event if you're going to use the guy. Like, put him in there with the champion, the world champion at some point. And Lashley doesn't have to win, but he should be pushed at that level, at least to put over the top guy. We had the TBS Championship match. Mercedes Moné versus Riho. Match was good. Mercedes Moné matches are always better than people give her credit for. Competitive match here between the two of them. Not a whole lot to say about it. It was your standard Mercedes Moné match. Riho put up a good fight in this one. But ultimately, Mercedes, after having a fair contest back and forth with them, Mercedes did gouge the eyes of Riho, got the win with the Monet maker, the statement maker, whatever they're calling it. It was a good match. I don't really remember too much about it, but it was good when I watched it. It was perfectly fine. I wouldn't say it was an excellent or great match by any means, but it was totally fine. I think the problem is I never felt like Riho had a chance of winning, and it was just another filler match for Mercedes, and it's basically what it was, but it was solid. Next up, we had Okada versus Takeshita versus Mascara Dorada, and this was an excellent match. I wanted to see Okada and Takeshita one-on-one, but I think the idea here was to set up to that match for a future date and build to that, because they were teasing more issues between Okada and Takeshita. They're both part of the Don Callis family, but we've been seeing teases of Takeshita leaving the group. And Dorada did great. Like he got involved, and all three of them worked really well together. I definitely think that this was the first match on the show, other than the opener, that really lived up to the standards of these pay-per-views. Even MJF and Mark Briscoe. I mean, it was very gimmicky, with the thumbtacks and everything. Like, it was entertaining, but like these guys were just on fire here. And they were all getting in their moves. Dorada was doing moves to both guys at the same time, like a double Hurricane Rana. Crowd was chanting AEW for that. Like, he looked really good, even though I figured he was going to take the fall in this one. I think he really shined in this one, and this was a standout performance for him. And yeah, it was a hell of a spectacle with these three. Pins getting broken up and everything. But ultimately, in the end, Okada got Takeshita out of the ring and pinned Dorada with the Rainmaker. And then afterwards, they had a little bit of the face-off, and they're definitely building to something with those guys. Takeshita really does have potential to be a top guy in AEW. Very good match here. And Dorada had a very nice showing. We had Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin in a coffin match. Now, this one was different from the other match. Very much a wild brawl. They immediately started fighting in the crowd, and Darby did his jump off of the balcony. And then they got back to the ring. It's essentially a casket match. They call it a coffin match. Some call it a sling blade. Some call it a Kaiser blade. You know how the drill goes. Darby did this suicide dive to Moxley, who he took the coffin and put it upright, and then Darby just does this crazy suicide dive. And Death Riders came out there, but then Moxley sent them to the back. And Bryan Danielson on commentary was not being objective. He dropped the F-bomb, and he really wanted to see Darby kick Moxley's ass. And we got the coffin door being slammed on fingers, and then we got the fork. Darby started using the fork as a weapon, which was something else. It's typical AEW. You either love it or hate it, most likely. And then he paid tribute to Sting with the Scorpion Death Drop. Then Moxley tried to win after hitting the Paradigm Shift on the coffin, but Darby had a pipe to block the lid from being shut. And then he used the pipe, and then this was what Bryan whispered to Darby. Bryan had a bag sitting next to him, and he brought out the bag, and Darby took the bag, and inside the bag was a plastic bag. Just like when Moxley suffocated Bryan, this was payback. And Darby suffocated Moxley with the bag, did the code red, started kicking Moxley's head in, and the crowd was chanting, "This is murder." And I thought this was it. I thought, okay, cool. Darby is getting revenge for Bryan Danielson, and Moxley's going to go in the coffin, and we're going to finally be done with the Death Riders. Nope. Not by a long shot. It never ends. Pac, Adrian Neville, whatever you want to call him, he's back, and he has short hair. And for a second, I thought, is that Wade Barrett? But wait a minute. Wade Barrett is a foot shorter now? Is it Austin Aries? No, it was Pac. Pac is back with short hair, and he attacked Darby. He put Darby in a body bag, and he put him in the coffin. Coffin lid was shut. Jon Moxley wins. It was entertaining. It was an entertaining match. I liked it a lot, even though it's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not the biggest fan of the Death Riders continuing, but yeah, Daniel Garcia's in it. Pac is back, and they're stronger than ever. It's like the NWO. They never go away. Next up, we had Timeless Tony Storm versus Jamie Hayter versus Chris Statlander versus Tekla for the Women's Championship. Pretty good match here. They're brawling all over the place because it's a four-way. It's anything goes, and Tekla looked pretty good in this match. You know, she's doing the Bray Wyatt spider walk that he does, the upside down stuff, and I did enjoy the match, and Jamie Hayter got in some moves, did the lariats, and pins were being broken up just like the triple threat match. But then, so at the beginning of the match, Wheeler Yuta was out there, and he was trying to give advice to Chris, but she didn't really want any of it, so he left. But then at the end of the match, Chris did the seatbelt pin, which is Wheeler Yuta's move, apparently. I don't even recall that, but I guess it is his move. I'll take everyone's word for it. And she won the title. Now, to me, I think that maybe it was a little out of nowhere. Like, the crowd wasn't even sure what happened. Like, there wasn't even really a big pop, and then people were like, oh, wait a minute, Chris won the title. Oh, cool. But it almost felt a little out of nowhere to me. And I feel like maybe that's one thing AEW could work on is their finishes, because I feel like there were several finishes on this show where the crowd just didn't pop the way you would expect them to for the end. So maybe that's something that they can do. But I'm happy for Chris Statlander. This was her first world title win in AEW, and I believe she's the first person to hold the world title and the TBS title, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it was a nice moment for her to win the title, and we'll see what happens if she ends up joining the Death Riders or not. Hopefully not, because the more people that get added, the longer it's going to go. But nice win for her. Next up, we had the ladder match. We only got 2 matches left to go here, and this was right about at 6:30. So at this point, I knew, okay, yeah, All Out's going very long. We had Brodito versus the Young Bucks versus Jet Speed versus the Don Callis family. Another multi-way match, ladder match. Very entertaining. It's hard to really run down everything that happened in it. Brody was doing some cool stuff in the match, beating people up, German suplexing 3 guys at once. You know, he looked great. And Bandito doing a lot of his flashy moves. You had Jet Speed doing their stuff. And then, of course, the Bucks. It's their specialty, these types of matches. They formed a little alliance with Hechicero and Josh Alexander, but then the Bucks, of course, betrayed them and tried to climb the ladder. That was funny. And we had a ladder bridge set up, and there was a pretty scary moment where Mike Bailey did his moonsault knee drop to Hechicero. The ladder was set up in the ring, and then there's that ladder bridge, and he did that move and kind of had a really nasty landing. And then Bandito did a sunset flip power bomb to Josh Alexander on that same ladder bridge. Then we had the spot that I think we saw in one of the other ladder matches where like a whole bunch of people went through tables at the same time. We had like three consecutive table spots in like a 10-second period. Bandito got put through a table, and Brody put Mike Bailey through a ladder bridge that was set up on the outside. And then LA Knight, this was a cool spot. LA Knight, not LA Knight. It's late, guys. It's almost midnight. Kevin Knight, too many nights. Kevin Knight, it's a late night, and I confuse LA Knight with Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight tried to climb a ladder, and you had 4 guys pick up the ladder with Knight on it, and they just dumped him over the top, and he crashed through a couple of tables on the outside. That was great. That was creative. Then the Bucks tried to climb the ladder, but Brody knocked them off. And then Bandito got up on top. He was given a ladder. He did this moonsault with the ladder, taking out the Don Callis guys. And then Brody wiped out the other guys. Bandito got back in the ring. Easy for me to say. He climbed up the ladder, grabbed the titles, champions retain. I'm happy the Bucks didn't win, even though I predicted them to win. Brodito seems to have some momentum right now, and they just won the titles. And Tony Khan's not really known for short title reigns. Most of these title reigns seem to last at least a couple months. I should have gone with Brodito, but the Bucks are in there, and it's sometimes hard to bet against them. But yeah, really good ladder match. I enjoyed it very much. Shout out to Roger B, who sent in a $2 super chat. Says AEW is such an easy watch, not billions of ads. Well, that is true. And they're charging a lot for their pay-per-view, so they don't really need the ads. That's the thing. If you're paying less money for a show, that company has to make up for it with the ad revenue. All right, we got a post-match angle. And before we get to that, shout out to Dave Scheffler, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dave. How long will it take for someone to get in Tony's ear to end the Death Riders? This has gone on for way too long. It ain't ending, man. They're adding more people. I don't think he's listening. They should have ended the Death Riders a long time ago. I mean, I thought maybe they might have had an opportunity at the All In pay-per-view in Texas, but when it kept going after that, it's pretty clear they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And if he wasn't going to do it 6 months ago, he sure as hell ain't doing it now. But thank you, Dave, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. And thank you, Roger, as well. So post-match angle, we had the return of Jack Perry. He confronted the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks attacked him, but then the lights came out, and we had a little vignette. It was Kill Switch, but he's back to Luchasaurus. He came out there. He attacked the Bucks. The Jurassic Express officially reunited. We got the old music, the Jungle Man music, whatever it is. What's the name of the song? Jungle Boy, Jungle Man, something. That 80s song, and everybody was happy. And I don't know if Taz was singing the song or not, but he should have. It's always funny when Taz starts singing it. By the way, a little bit of breaking news. I not really a surprise or anything, but I guess they're doing Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. They're doing that match at crown jewel. They're doing the champion versus champion match. So there you go. Yeah, nice moment here. I think it's the right call. We did talk about this. Oh, it's Tarzan Boy. Thank you for that, guys. Tarzan Boy is the name of the song. We did mention this on the predictions video, the idea that maybe we'd have Jurassic Express reunite, turn Jack Perry. The whole Jack Perry heel deal with the music and everything and being the scapegoat, it wasn't working. And I think him and Luchasaurus are better off together than as singles at this point. So nice moment there. And then we had our main event. Hangman Adam Page versus Kyle Fletcher. And yes, people did pop for them. I think they popped for them. They were cheering them. And then when the music played, they were singing it. I think people liked it. It's better than Jack Perry as a heel for sure. But let's talk about our main event. Now, before that, actually, so this is interesting. They did this angle right at 7 o'clock. And I'm thinking this was done by design. So they had Darby Allin attacking Jon Moxley backstage. He wasn't dead, despite everything that happened. Darby attacked Jon Moxley. He put Moxley in a body bag, set him on fire, and then officials quickly came in and extinguished the flames. It was over the top, but it was an interesting idea to do this right at 7 o'clock to maybe try and take a little bit of buzz away from WWE. I'll give them credit for it. It was an interesting idea. He set him on fire. But I still think we haven't seen the last of Jon Moxley. That's the thing. All right. Kyle Fletcher versus Adam Page. I was trying to watch this and the John Cena Brock Lesnar match at the same time. Fortunately, the Lesnar and Cena match was such a dud that I could just see what was happening. Okay, they're doing the move spamming. I was able to mostly focus on the Kyle Fletcher and Page match. And then their match went on through a lot of the intros for the tag match and all that stuff. So I did get to focus on most of the match. And from everything I saw, it was a great main event. I didn't really think Page was losing, but they did a really good job with the match. And there were a couple of near falls where it did look like Fletcher was going to win. The idea here is that they really let Fletcher take Page to the limit. And it was a very long match, too. I think this match went on, I don't know the exact length, but probably close to 45 minutes. If somebody out there knows the exact time, let me know. But I feel like it went on close to the end of the hour. Like the pay-per-view ended at like 7:55. So like close to the 8 o'clock hour. This was a very long show. I mean, this was a 5-hour pay-per-view, and then you had that 1 hour collision, tailgate, brawl, whatever you want to call it. But this was a fantastic match from what I saw. Like, very long match. And Ian says it was about 38 minutes. And Fletcher put on a performance. I think he's got a lot of potential for sure. And I from what I've heard from him in interviews, he seems like he gets it. And he's 26 years old. So I really do think he has a real shot at being a top guy in the future. I didn't expect him to win this match, but I thought they did a great job here. And one cool thing they did in this match is they were doing the moves of some of the other guys they've been in the ring with as of late. So like at one point, Page was doing Omega's moves. He did the V trigger, tried to do the one-winged angel. And I think Page did the what's the move from Swerve Strickland? Big Pressure, I think is what it's called. And they tried to do the spot from Dynamite where Fletcher put Page through the table with the brain buster. He set up the table again, but this time it was Fletcher that got put through the table with the dead eye. So I like that they did that. A little reference to that match. And yeah, it was very back and forth. They were brawling outside of the ring. And yeah, they did a lot of different moves. Page kept trying to go for the buckshot lariat. At one point, Fletcher just collapsed. And then Fletcher did the hidden blade from Will Ospreay. And then Fletcher hit the brain buster, almost won the match after countering the buckshot lariat. He got him in a roll up and came very close. And the crowd seemed to buy into it as a near fall. And then they were chanting, "This is awesome." Fletcher then exposed the top turnbuckle. He took Page up top and tried to finish him off, but then Page countered that with an avalanche deadeye, hit the buckshot lariat. Finally, he had missed like 2 or 3 times, finally got it, pinned Fletcher, won the match, and seemed to show some respect to Fletcher after the match for putting up a great fight. We didn't get any interference. Fletcher was a man of his word. He would have lost the title, I guess, per the stipulation, but yeah, it was a hell of a main event. I'll give them credit. They put on a fantastic match to close out the show. And it's a tough call as to what I would say was the best match of the day. Shout out to Roger, who sent in a $2 super chat, says, "Kyle is such a star. Screw Stevie Richards, Kyle." Newsflash, Stevie Richards is playing the game. He says what will get him views. He will make controversial opinions on his videos for the sake of clicks. It is what it is. He'll say things that will offend AEW fans and will please the people that don't like AEW. I mean, that's what he's doing. But I think he's got a lot of potential. Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita, both of them seem to be future top guys in AEW. All in all, I thought it was a very good show. Was it perfect? No. Was it too long? Absolutely. Were there some things that I would have left off the show? Yes. I don't think it needed to be 5 hours. But the good stuff was really good. And there were a few not so great things. You know, the Eddie Kingston return could have been better. Hurt Syndicate match was just kind of okay. And a few things here and there I felt were a little awkward, but all in all, very good show. I would probably go 8 out of 10 for All Out. Not the best pay-per-view of the year, but still a very strong one. And, you know, if they cut it a little bit shorter and trim the fat, as I like to say, they could get a 9 out of 10, 9 or 10 for me. But this one's an 8. Very good pay-per-view, and I think it outperformed Wrestlepalooza, so there you go. I think All Out was definitely the better of the 2 shows. And now we move on. Hopefully I don't have to do this again for a while. It was a lot, but I appreciate everybody that's been watching tonight. Thank you all so much, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and spread the word. It was a very busy day. I mean, I look forward to being able to somewhat rest on Sunday, but of course we got all the post news. So make sure you stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest. And I'll see you guys soon. We got the No DQ review coming up. Apparently Virtue has something to say, get off his chest. That'll be Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Check that out. And I'll be back after Monday Night Raw. Say yes to NoDQ.com. And I will see you all next time.